hearing to order. It's April 6, 2015. Greg, could you read the notice of the public hearing? You have it?
I'll try to find it here. Give me a second. Here it is. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given to all those entitled to vote in town meetings in the towns of Bridgewater, Roxbury, and Washington, that a public hearing will be held on Monday, April 6, 2015 at 7 p.m. in the library of the Chippewa Valley School, 159 South Street, Washington, Connecticut, to present the annual budget for the year 2015-2016 prepared by the Regional Board of Education for Chippewa Valley Regional School District 12, copies of which will be available at the public meeting. And this is signed by the Chippewa Valley Regional School District 12, Bridgewater, Roxbury, Washington, by James Hirschfield, Chairman, Board of Education, Washington Depot, Connecticut, 06794.
All right, thank you. Item 3, overview presentations of the budget process in the 2015-16 annual budget for the Regional School District 12 review, for our review. We have before us, I believe, updated budgets that we were passed out for tonight's proceedings. We have a budget that the board has passed, but it's before the public tonight. Is there anyone who wants to address us with regard to the public, with regard to the budget, I'm sorry, the Board of Education's proposed budget?
I do just want to alert the board that Julie Anderson sent a letter this afternoon that everyone has a copy of.
Okay. Yes, did everybody receive that letter? Yeah. Is there anyone from the public who wants to address us? All right, there's no one here. I think we can carry on this business, any further business in our regular meeting. So I'm going to adjourn the presentation. We've had. Oh, Patty, is somebody prepared to make an overview presentation of the budget process?
I can do that. Val is not here and Bob is not here. I'll just give you the fast
There is no
overview. I think we all know the budget process starts in the district office really in October. Then goes out to the schools where Mr. Geeson's office sends out all of the forms, etc., to the principals. The principals then work with their staffs to develop budgets, supplies, new programs, etc., etc. We start to meet in December when everything is due to central office. We go over the proposed requests from not only the principals but the directors of different programs, special ed, pupil services, finance, facilities. In January, Mr. Geeson starts to put everything together. I work with him to just look where we can maybe be more efficient, look at some savings, etc. In February, we introduced the budget to the Board of Finance of the 3 towns, selectmen if they'd like to come, plus the Finance Committee from the Board of Ed. And then we start to put things together so that March is when I make my budget presentation. The board has debated over the last couple of weeks. They've made some adjustments, and we are now to this point. Currently, the budget is negative 0.26%, which is an increase from the superintendent's budget, which was negative 0.46%. And that's where you are right now.
All right. This is the public district budget hearing. Is there anyone who wants to be heard? No? Okay. All right, then I'm prepared to adjourn the public.
It says questions. Questions, is that public questions or board member questions?
No, I take it to be public.
Okay.
There's no one here. So the budget hearing, unless anybody objects, I'm going to adjourn. It's adjourned. All right. We'll open the board meeting. It's about 5 after, 6 after. Susan, would you take attendance?
Yes.
Please.
Valerie Anderson is absent. Tony Bedini.
Here.
Alan Brown.
Here.
Gregory Cava.
Here.
Michelle Gora. Here. Emily Hibbert. Here. James Hirschfield.
Here.
Kelly Lott is absent. Jennifer Cody. Michael Sinatra, he's absent. I am here. Peter Tagley.
Here.
Right. Valerie, Kelly, Jennifer, and Michael absent.
All right, thank you. So this is a special meeting. All right. It's to the board, item 2, discussion of the 2015-16 budget. Is there anyone who wants to be heard? Is there any motions? There's a motion. We'll be looking for a motion to set and approve the school's district budget for the year 2015-16. Greg,
So moved.
as presented by the,
As presented by the superintendent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't it actually the one that we approved on our last meeting?
Right.
Isn't it? Okay. Is there any second? Second?
Second.
All right. Discussion, Peter?
Yes, could someone at this point put a motion on the floor to reallocate the $147,000 we spent for REACH, reallocate it towards fixing up the mall?
Yes.
They could. Does that person have to be one who voted for, or can one who voted against put that motion on the floor?
I think it would have to be one who voted on the successful side.
Or who wasn't here?
I'm not sure about that. Probably. Yeah, I would.
Someone who didn't vote either way, or?
I mean, I don't have a problem with having a fair vote on it, quite frankly, but we presented a budget to the public which has been accepted, and so we have, it doesn't override what you want to do on your own, but we do have something that we put forward to the public as what the board's approved, so. But you're free to make a motion.
Well, I can because I voted against it. Correct, if you voted against that,
I believe that's correct,
I
yes.
believe it would
That's how
have
I
to be a
vote,
board
yes.
member who wasn't here or who voted for it.
Correct. I don't need to be. Susan?
If I may, there were a lot of moving pieces to the 147. I believe the wording of the motion was up to 147.
Okay.
It was a matter of where can it be, exactly how many students would ultimately be participating. So there, I took that to be that there was, I was hopeful that there would be potential for savings within that expenditure while meeting the needs of the waiting kids in the district. So perhaps any savings could be allocated toward improvements, but it's not going to be any substantial, it won't be
Okay.
the kind of money that you would be looking for.
Peter?
Oh, so I'm to assume that you're not in favor of spending 140, that money allocated for REACH to be spent to fix up the mall?
I was the one that brought up issues regarding transportation and the overall cost. We had an open house at which it was discussed, the current cost, and I wasn't aware of the cost. I think the cost is too low. It's just not even generously low. It is very low. Especially with transportation included.
You're talking about the REACH program?
Yeah.
I am.
The tuition.
The tuition.
Tuition.
The cost of the tuition. And we provide transportation. I did not see the necessity for all of that. I voted against it. But that said, we were outvoted, so I saw that there was room for the potential for savings. And I thought those were some of the variables that would have been considered moving forward to meet the needs of 13 kids.
Peter, I'll say, with regard to Ms. Anderson's letter, which I read, it's very well written, I don't disregard her sentiments, and I appreciate it fully, and I don't know, exactly what her connection is to the region. I'm sure she's had children through here.
She's
Probably her
two
son.
in right now.
It
one
says in the
has
first
been-
paragraph, she's got 3.
Okay, good.
Three that went
And
through the
I
school,
certainly
she's
appreciate
good.
that, but for myself, the REACH program, expanding the REACH program does reach an important sector that we cannot afford to, disregard. I felt it was important to go forward with it. Others may disagree, but that's how I felt that is. It's as important as what's out front. I wish we could do both. I just don't see myself doing that.
Yeah, I don't think 147 would do a lot of work. I think the mall needs major work.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Alan.
I just wanted to, there was a question she brought up, and it's probably moot now because of the stage we're at in the budget and in our thoughts towards this program. But this kind of rang a bell, and she said, when this program was proposed 2 years ago, the board and public were assured that it could enroll 48 children at no cost to the region. And that kind of rang a bell that is kind of what we were told. What happened to
Why does it cost?
Yeah, why did it change? Do you know?
Well, what, we talked about it last week, when we were starting to relook at the program, we didn't have anybody who wanted to go in the afternoon.
Oh.
So everyone only wanted to go in the morning, so, because to do 48, you need 12 morning,
Gotcha.
12 afternoon, 12 morning, 12 afternoon. No one wanted to go in the afternoon,
Okay.
so it dissolved.
That answers your point.
All right. Anything else? Susan?
Back to my point about pinching some money perhaps from the 147, we did hear a proposal for before and after school programs that was pretty resoundingly shot down. That's the kind of program that attracts working families and allows families to work full-time. That would be a big bonus. You know, we've got 13 families in need of preschool, and we bent over backwards and rather quickly. I think there was a somewhat of a sentiment blowing in the wind that we needed some more study, and that's why we still, at this late date, have questions. Because we just didn't have the research, and we hurried up and acted on something. So if there is money to be found, it would be nice if some of that might be, can it be reflected into some before and or after school program?
Yeah. Yes?
I wasn't here at the vote last week. I'm kind of okay with how it stands now, but I don't think we shot down that. I didn't think there was enough interest. Is there interest? Enough to facilitate getting funds?
Transportation has been the big snag. So to know that we are giving away preschool services and including transportation, and the transportation piece of it was a huge chunk. I mean, I don't have those numbers right in front of me, but that was a huge chunk. The transportation, transporting kids between schools was the big sticking point.
Yes, Jeff? Anyone else? There's a motion on the floor to approve the budget as proposed. Anything further? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes. Any motion to adjourn? Moved. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Very good. Thank you for coming. All right. Call the regular Board of Education business meeting to order on 7:15, 7:14. Susan, once again, please just take your attendance.
Yes, Valerie Anderson, absent. Tony Bedini. Alan Brown.
Yes.
Gregory Cava.
Here.
Michelle Gora. Here. Emily Hibbard. James Hirschfield.
Here.
Kelly Lott is absent. Jennifer Cody. Here. Michael Sinatra is absent. I'm here. Peter Taggart.
Here.
All right, thank you. So Michael, Kelly, and Valerie are absent. Item 2, opportunity for the public to comment on agenda items. Is there anyone in the public who would like to address us? All right, seeing no one, thank you. And item 3, consent agenda. Is there anyone who wants to remove anything from the consent agenda?
I don't want to remove anything, but I'd like to just ask about the community service camping trip. Seems interesting. Do you know anything about that?
The community service camping trip, let's see if it's back here. Sometimes it's not. Of course it's not. Do you know what it is?
Kim, do you know?
Who applied for it?
I think it was Nolan.
Oh,
April 11th to the 15th.
Oh, yeah. Michael takes a group of students out on the Appalachian Trail, and
During the break.
he's done that, I'm going to say 5 years now.
Oh, that's great.
He is a cool guy.
Anything else on the
He most
consent
certainly
agenda?
is.
All right, then it's approved. Report of the chair, I have no report. Just want to thank everybody for their work on getting the budget passed. To date. Superintendent's report, Dr. Christine.
Yes, couple of things. Where should we start? The first thing, I I left this somewhere in the school, I'm gonna find it right after this meeting. The tech champions and Karen Files and her staff are really working very hard to do a integration tour, technology in the region, and there are 4 different times for the different schools. Burnham will be Thursday at 9, Booth Free will be Thursday at 1, Chapag will be 9 on Friday, and Washington Primary will be 12:45. They run for 2 hours. They really would love some of the board members to be there. So I am going to send this around if you want to sign up. You can go to all of them, you can come for an hour, whatever you can do. I just really know that they would greatly appreciate it. And of course, media is involved and invited. Sue, you have this. Mari, I will send this to you tomorrow in the mail, in the email, okay? So that's the first thing. You have in here, just for your information, the teachers union sent a letter, I believe, I don't know, we probably sent it in the board packet, I'm not sure because it's, okay, about asking for an increase in substitute teacher pay. We're having a very hard time finding substitute teachers up here. We pay less than other regions and school districts in the area, and it's really getting very difficult. So something for you to consider.
How much
Maybe-
less?
Maybe, if I may, maybe that's something that could be referred to our negotiating committee to make a
Okay,
recommendation back
we
to
can
the
do
board.
that tomorrow night maybe.
We don't need to do that.
Okay, fine.
Peter, I'm sorry, Peter?
Well, how much less?
Well, right now, we pay
I don't want to negotiate contracts.
No, I understand, but, well, maybe you can let us know.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Just the
Yes, the
information,
information.
not negotiation. We pay $70 for the first 10 days. We pay $80 after you've worked 10 days, and then we pay $110 for assignments that are 20 days or more. So we're probably, I would think, between $20 and $25 less. Okay? We have
Sorry,
current...
Michelle, hold on.
I'm
I
sorry.
was just wondering, would we need to act on that before we put the budget forward? Or
No.
No, okay.
No,
Let me try it.
that's per day.
In that budget.
It's low. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's a problem for us. We have currently a resignation and a termination, and Regina Sipley is resigning as of June 30th. Kevin O'Neill has been terminated as of March 18th, and I would like to make motions to accept that. So, Emily, can you read those, do you mind? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, let me give it back to him. I'm taking over his job. Here you go.
Alan, do you have a?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Regina Cipri, special education teacher at SVS, effective June 30th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Greg? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, passes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the termination of Kevin O'Neill, educational assistant at SVS, effective March 18, 2015.
Second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Susan. Any further discussion?
Yeah, why are we accepting resignation? It's a formality to accept. I understand why accepting termination under the circumstances. I'm not sure we want to have that discussion in public.
I just
Personnel
wanted, it is a personnel matter, but, you know, we list it all the time, resignations, terminations. Sometimes we accept it, sometimes we don't,
We
sometimes
usually
we speak
accept
to
with
it.
regret
It's a formal
if somebody-
stamp
So it's just a
Conclusion.
formal that you're aware, I just want you to be aware, that's all, really.
Is there anything we need to, well, there would be an executive
Yeah.
session discussion.
I guess we
We
could-
don't need to do termination.
Yeah, we can talk about it in executive session.
Is there anything further? Is anybody asking for an executive session? Is anybody
At the
requesting
end of the
that?
meeting, I
We already have an
We do
executive
have
session.
executive session.
Yes.
We could talk about it then.
All right, well then, there's a motion on the floor to accept the termination. Is there anything further? Greg?
Yeah, I'll move that we table that motion until after the executive session.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
The right
And how is
To
it?
something.
You know, Debbie, ask Pat if she can,
Table 7 years from back to the same meeting.
Okay.
All right, is there any discussion on that, motion to table? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, that motion is tabled till after executive session. Virginia.
Great. We have grade 5 going to Ellis Island, which I'm very excited about. When I went to immigration or station, I said to them, "Are you going to Ellis Island?" And they said, "No." I said, "Well, you have to go." So I'm paying for the ticket. We're paying for the tickets, not me personally. And we have a free bus from a parent, so they're going. So I think it's going to be really great. We'll talk to the 5th grade.
Could I offer just a brief suggestion? If any of the kids that are going have relatives who emigrated to Ellis, they can look them up on
Yes.
the Ellis Island website. They should do it. It's really easy to do, and it would be cool to see the records of their ancestors.
Right. I will be happy to share that with the teachers tomorrow.
It's
All right,
free, and it's a great website.
Great, thank you. That's just for your information. And now we have Mrs. Gallo, who's just going to do a very quick NEASC update, just to give you an idea of the process moving forward.
I can name that tune in 5 notes or less. NEASC, as I've spoken to you a lot about in the last 2 years, finally came, and we had a reception right here in the library. The NEASC committee was treated to our students and our faculty, putting together a presentation that showed that we're a vision-driven school. The nice thing about our presentation is that I believe for our faculty, all of our hard work over the last 2 years in doing our self-evaluation came together, and they understood why we did that. I had many teachers coming to me and saying how proud they were to be a part of it, as well as the students. And what we are trying to do is to capture that excitement and that celebration of what we do, and to bring that forward, because obviously we won't have a decennial evaluation every year, which is really a good thing. If you look at the budget, you'll know that. The evaluation went on past the ceremonious pieces on Sunday. On Sunday, in addition to the presentation, 32 teachers were interviewed with student work, and they brought committee members through the process of what does this work mean, what does it show about teaching and learning, and how does it fit into the big picture. On Monday, 16 visiting committee members shadowed our students for half a day. They were treated to our classrooms as well as our cafeteria. Cute side note is our kids wanted to make sure that they had separate tables to sit at with their committee members, because they were afraid that their friends would chew with their mouths open, and that would make us look so good. It was very cute. They actually requested that themselves. The visiting committee members also did impromptu visits to every single one of our classrooms as a part of their study. There were many, many different committee meetings in which they were taken through our core values, our guiding beliefs, our teaching and learning, and that was put through the lens of the 7 standards that I've talked to you about over the last 2 years. It was a very rigorous visit, but it also was very, very positive in that it showed us just what we do here. It put that big picture together, and there's been a lot of excitement around it, and I'm very, very glad to report that. So the NEASC visit, as far as I'm concerned, was very, very positive. We can't talk about what the chair talked to us about, but I can tell you that we all came away feeling very, very positive, and for good reason. Yes?
That's great, great report, thank you. Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
They gave you feedback?
They did.
Did they tell you anything about your Board of Education?
We know that. How wonderful its chair is.
I think you mentioned that you were quite good looking. Actually, the kind of...
Did meet with them, that's what I'm asking.
I know, that's actually a very valid question, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist, you left me wide open, and I can't resist that.
Sorry.
Really, what the committee talks to us about is, does everybody get it? Does everybody understand what the vision is for this school, including the board, including the parents, including the students? And that vision was very, very positive. So I can certainly say that.
Thank you.
You're
Anything
welcome.
for Kip?
When will we hear, or when do they turn in their final report? Or how does this work after now?
It takes 6 to 8 weeks. What happens is, I've served as a chair quite a few times, and what happens is you have 16 different committee members. Most of them have never met one another. They all look at this report through one lens. Each standard is assigned 2 committee members. And then you have the chair and the assistant chair. The chair's job afterwards is to put that report into one voice. And that takes 6 to 8 weeks, not only for the editing to happen, but also for the committee that is people from all over the NEASC range of New England to vote on that, and to look at the report very, very thoroughly, and to vote on it. So it takes time before we actually get the finished product. At that point, I will make that, it's given to me. I will talk about it with Dr. Cosentino, and then we will choose to make it public. We will choose to make it public. I don't mean to say that there's a choice. And we'll decide how to do that and how to get that information out.
Okay, so 6 to 8.
That's
June, so we might not hear about it really for real until the fall.
Realistically, we'll report about it in the fall. I'd love it if it happens sooner.
Okay.
And that's because I anticipate a very strong report.
Great, thank you.
You're
Anything
welcome.
else? Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
All right, next is Baldwin Media Marketing Update with Ann Baldwin. Ann.
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
Good. I just wanted to briefly update you, and this is just a bulleted point, kind of play-by-play of where we've been and where we've been at as far as the communication process goes, which a lot of this has been happening behind the scenes, but I just want you to know that we have been very busy and I think in a lot of ways effective. So I'm just going to kind of run through these bullet points. We obviously had the board retreat. We also had a staff development meeting, which we held up here. And I think how many participants did we have in that? About 12 or 13?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So that was just very good, just about, different staff things, key messages, the communication process, both internal and external. So that went, I think, really well, and they appreciated that. Once the Fitch rating came out positively, we put together a release on that, and that was put out into the newspapers. Also, the financial news release about the money, the excess funds, and the fact that this region is in great financial strength. We also put together a release on that, which also made the press. We made an attempt to get some media coverage here for the TEDx event, which would have been fantastic, but it wasn't really suited for the cameras, if you will, the TV stations, as we had originally hoped, because it wasn't interactive. It was pretty much just like sitting there watching a movie. So that didn't go very far, but nonetheless, a release did go out. Then we've done, to date, 2 Dr. Pat programs. The first one was the introduction to myself and my role with Region 12 with the superintendent. And then we also did one on the Ag Science STEM program, and that was with the superintendent and the principal as well. And then we just did one this afternoon, regional district update with representatives from Roxbury, Bridgewater, and Washington. The same 3 folks that we have met with, has it been twice now? Doctor, I don't remember it.
I think
Have we met twice? Yes, twice, right. So we just wanted to kind of put our thoughts and put our conversations down, into the format that people would have access to, just talking about, the differences in the towns, however, the commonalities that we have and the common goals that everybody has, because, one of the things that we have heard on a continued basis is that there may be a little bit of disconnect sometimes, differences of opinion. So I figured if we all kind of sat there and spoke together, and I think that the program, came off really well, and then that will be scheduled to broadcast as well. Also, you had students and the superintendent, and someone from the board was there too. Oh yeah, that's right. Up for Michelle, right, up for Day on the Hill. And so that was great because we had one TV station that was, I had pitched them to profile some students and a school that had come up for Day on the Hill to meet with their legislators. And so I convinced them that it should be Region 12. So that was kind of fun. Max Reese. I mean, they had a bigger agenda, it was a bigger story, but they still interviewed 2 of the students. And it was interesting, as I was kind of behind the scenes and walking you guys through the process, you actually had scheduled meetings with your legislators. And there was a panic attack on behalf of their aides when they're like, oh, you're here, not only are you here for the meeting, but you're here with news cameras rolling. So there was an accountability issue there, which they're, oh, please come to us, we'll meet with you anytime. So, but it was able to showcase the students there in that, and I just got to tell you how articulate they were about the Ag Science STEM program, and the two students even knew the bill number. I mean, I tell you what, I did a lot of interviews for a lot of years, and those were two of the best interviews, I think, that I've ever seen. So you should be really, really proud that they had the message down, and they very well represented Region 12. So that was a good outcome there. Also, what we're working on too are the regional informational sessions on the Ag Science programs, which will be conducted in the previous towns in different forms, bringing different people together. I've heard some rumblings that, not enough people know about the Ag Science program, not enough people know what's going on, and some of that has been by design, communication design, because this really stands in my opinion, at a legislative level. It's a decision that we can't make, and I guess my fear from a communication perspective is to get people too geared up. What do I say? High expectations sometimes lead to disappointment, and I hope, and I think everybody does, that this is going to keep going in the right direction, but the last thing that we want to do is just raise this, this is absolutely going to happen when, really the control is beyond us. So to kind of below the radar for now, keep educating people, keep doing these roadshows, keep communicating with your local community, and then when you find out more, obviously that's going to be a splash like none other. So that's kind of where I'm headed with that. The other things that we're talking about that are on the radar right now is a new logo design for the region and for the other schools, figuring out if we're going to focus on the school names, the town names. So this is a work in progress that we're going to begin working on right now. Also, I've been contacted and working with the organizer, putting together the alumni picnic, the first ever annual alumni picnic, but it's really going to be a community picnic because, again, your first one, you never know who's going to be able to be reached. And so once she has additional details, I'm going to work with her to figure out how to best communicate that and bring in people and bring people back and bring the community together. End of April, we're shooting for putting together a direct mail piece, informational piece, and then once we have, again, more information and we know, where we're at as far as, putting together written information on the Ag Science STEM program, we got to make sure that what we say, has a shelf life for at least a little bit, because it is costly in some ways to put that together, and we don't want it to be dated, and obviously it has to be accurate. So that's a very brief update, because I know how you love me to be brief, but I'm...
No. Yeah, I mean to rush it. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. With regard to that end of April mailing, that won't discuss the budget at all?
That's really what we're going to come up with the
Right.
Well, all right, the
Sorry, we're working on it.
strictures we work under with regard to
Yes.
mailings and the budget.
Oh, yes, and obviously nothing goes out without, everybody's...
And I assume this doesn't have to be said, but with regard to any new logo design, I assume that would ultimately come to the board.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's one of those things, it's easier to kind of get started and bring concepts to you than to try to create concepts,
fine.
by committee. So that's our goal there. So, but I can tell you one thing, I can guarantee it will be better than what you got.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I was going to say, we will probably get some inkling by June of what's happening with the legislature on the BoE, or STEM Ag Science
Right.
program. How fast are you prepared to ramp up, assuming it's, thank you, assuming it's approved, how fast do you think you'd be able to ramp up? Because it's a lot of information to get out before a fall referendum, especially since it'll be the summer. I mean, I know you're hesitant to push a lot of stuff now, but if you don't push it now, how are you going to be able to push it in July, August?
Well, we are pushing it now, but subtly, I guess. So, I guess that also depends on what is the strategy. When you say it's ready to go, then it's ready to go, right? So,
Well,
I mean, we've got the pieces there. Everything is there. I know the background on it. We've got that. So, it's going to all be dictated by, we may have hours.
Well, the only concern I have is one of the problems we tend to have in the region is that we don't communicate well enough in advance of major initiatives. And what happens is, we're really in the middle of it. When you're here at this meeting, board members know what's going on. We've been immersed in the details. The people that come regularly to the meetings are somewhat immersed in the details. But people out there who are going about their daily lives are not. And then we try to explain why something is a good idea, and we haven't set the table, so they don't see why it's a good idea.
And that's where these community presentations are going to reach a broader audience, so that folks will be educated on that and have the opportunity to learn how it will benefit the entire community, and, you know, address some of the issues such as diminishing class size and those kinds of things, plus the need of the kids that are being turned away, you know, in the other program. So I understand that. I'm here to follow, you know, the direction of whatever it is. It's just, when you think about what can we absolutely say right now, there's not a lot we can absolutely say. There's a lot of variables still.
Well, all this you're talking about post-approval by the legislature.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, no, what I'm saying is I'm a little bit worried that if we wait until June and
Wait,
start pulling it
please.
off the shelf.
You said that once the legislation is approved, is she ready to go? That's what you asked.
That's what I asked, but my concern is, are we going to have enough time to do the credible kind of job we have to do? What's our message? What's our message? If we had to deliver it today, what would our message be? That's what I'm wondering. Do we know what that is?
Well, that wasn't your question.
Oh, I know what the
But I'm-
message is,
I'm-
absolutely.
All right, Dr.
But
Pasquino.
just so you know, we are currently working on the district newsletter that's going to be in the mail into everybody's homes by the weekend of May 1st. There are articles in there about the agri-science and Chapag. It's, so there's some really good information about that, and that goes to all community members in all 3 towns. We have our first meeting set with Roxbury at 7:30 on April 23rd. We have not yet heard from Washington and Bridgewater. As soon as we get that, we'll be doing that. We have Charlie Booz coming to the next facilities meeting with the drawings to move forward for the Agri-Science Center. We have that all in place. We just need an okay for the facilities committee, said move with that. We have a lot of things in place.
And can I just interrupt you real
Yeah.
quick? Sue also came at our invitation and sat down with us for about an hour and a half and talked to Kim and talked to the superintendent with a detailed article about what needs it's addressing, what it will look like, what it could cost, the legislative ask, a very detailed article that really did lay the groundwork to the general public. I did not put that down in my bullet points, so.
No, I'm not being critical.
No.
I'm just trying to make sure
Sure.
that we have a shared vision. Because, I mean, I think this is a great thing. I mean, I think we have a great thing
Oh, yeah.
to bring to people. This is going to really make
Yeah.
this an even more exceptional school. And it's going to go a long way to solving the questions people have about what's the future of Chapag.
Absolutely.
Well, this is the future of it, a vibrant, great high school. And I just want to make sure we get the word out, that's all.
No, I understand.
Early enough that it percolates
Sure.
through, because people have a lot of things on their plate. They're busy. That's all.
Done. All right. Michelle?
Well, I think in that same vein, and I think kind of what Greg was getting at, because we've been through this before and not done a great job. We wait until June until we hear from the legislative process, which makes perfect sense. We meet in the summer, but not often. And we talked in our retreat last week about some great summer opportunities for getting the word out there, whether it's a brochure that we put out at the fireworks or at the fairs or something like that. But we all won't be around, most likely, we meet much less. So we won't be around. So I think what Greg was just asking about is are you guys ready, and do you need anything from us now? Because there's a big communication piece is gonna have to happen over the summer, because then once the date is posted, we can no longer spend public money, and we're shooting for September?
Well, we could know
October.
September 15th is what we're
I'm
shooting
sorry.
for.
That only applies to the budget, that restriction.
Well, no,
No.
any expense referendum.
Any referendum where you're asking for money, we cannot spend.
We cannot advocate for this.
Right, we can't
can
advocate.
share information.
Right, we can share
I-
information, but we can't
what-
advocate, so we just have to
Right.
be.
What I've done is I've
mindful of that.
scheduled a special board meeting on June 8th, which would be the Monday after the Wednesday the legislature
Oh, okay.
closes for
Okay.
us.
We can
So
cover
we'll have a
that.
meeting on the 8th, and we'll have a meeting on the 15th, 2 meetings.
Yes.
At that point, it will be a lot of strategic planning with Ann. We need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do
Okay.
this. What will be very helpful also is that when we are meeting in your towns, if the board members could be there, because I think that was missing last time. We're all in support of this, just to be there, to stand up and say, listen, this is what's good. They don't just want to hear that from me and Ann. They want to hear that from, the people in the towns. And that's why it's so important that Carol Ann and Dan and Barbara, and, that there are other voices besides mine that are saying that this is important. So I think it's really important that, we do that. So,
And to answer your question, yes, we're going to continue to work
Yeah.
through the summer.
we work in the summer.
Whatever we need to do. Also, as a member of CAVE, you've got those folks up there, like Sheila McKay, who is a lobbyist, registered lobbyist, keeping her eye on the progression of this too. So I'm hoping with the kind of the flyers we have on the wall up there that we'll know and to be able to scream this from the mountaintops. That's my goal.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just have two other little things? I just want to, Sue Tuz came and saw, we did a TV show tonight, which Ann mentioned, but Sue was in the audience watching us. It was my first time that I was able to film. I've never filmed before, so it was very fun.
You were a camera operator.
Yes, I was camera operator, that's what I was, thank you. But anyway, Sue gave us, I don't know if you all saw the Wonder Garden article, but I wanted to give this to you. And then the high school did a great job. This has been on my desk for a little while, but it's the latest edition of the Spartan Chronicle. So I wanted you to have that also. And I am going to send this around. If you can sign up, fine. If not, just try to come. And if not, send somebody if you can't come. Send a loved one or a community member or somebody to come, because they're really working hard. And that happens to be Carolyn Dwyer's daughter on there. She's in the second grade program, which is currently piloting the Chromebooks. So we're very excited about that. And so now I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the superintendent? All right, thank you. Then moving on to committee reports. Education, Michelle, any report?
Shoot, I forgot about that one. No, we got so off our schedule with the snow dates. Let me just check real quick. So, April, this is, we just have a NEOS presentation, but
April?
I don't know, that doesn't seem
Sheila
right.
Gambino's going to
Is
present
she
on
gonna
April.
Project Lead the Way got snowed out,
It's
so-
not, it's Project Lead the Way, but it's more of the engineering courses and the robotic courses.
Okay.
So she's going to do that on April 20th.
Right.
If I could just say one thing, I think the discussion that we had about the REACH program and the budget vote on that should go under education. That was education. All right, Education Connection, anything?
I was not able to attend their last meeting.
All right, Facilities, Greg, anything?
Well, we're obviously having the meeting.
Report.
We haven't had a meeting since, other than for perfunctory purposes since then, so we'll be having that meeting and discuss it.
All right, no finance report, Valerie's not here. Negotiations, Greg?
We are meeting tomorrow night with the clerical workers in negotiation. We'll be meeting again on the 21st, I think, with both of them. So we're still continuing those negotiations.
All right, we're negotiating with the custodians and
The custodians, the clerical.
Cafeteria workers.
Cafeteria and Paris.
policy.
We met March 23rd, and I guess I should just update, because we haven't had any policies coming forward to the board. We've gotten a little bit bogged down. We're kind of working on two paths. We've got our audit that was done, and we have a bunch of updates that need to happen, but we also continually have laws that are passed, so we have to update things, and administering meds seems to get updated every year. It's a very lengthy policy, and we went through it, and now it's with the nurses to just review before we bring it back to you. I'm waiting for something from Gary, a liability release form, so that's a policy. A bullying policy got updated by the state. It's very lengthy. We went through ours and the new legislation, and we're working on that now. So we're actually going to try to find a way to get a couple hours together at one time, meet on an off day so we can get through some more work. And hopefully we will be bringing back policies from the audit again. We have a lot of those to get through too.
I thought you were like almost done through it.
Well, no, what we did
Just
is
just keeps advancing.
it does. I swear, you can never get on top of policy. So what happened is when we had the
Pay a
original
guy
audit
full-time
done.
and just continue to go through it.
It is, it's true, it's continued, well, and they pass new legislation every year, so we stop what we're doing, we update the ones that we just recently worked on, but I think there are about 23 policies that were mandated to be included or updated.
Right.
We did all those, now we have like 64 more policies that require slight like they were okay, but they needed,
64, okay.
yeah,
Right.
it's huge. It's huge. The stack is like this big of all. What they did, we paid them to actually go through and write, to modify our current policy so that we would know that it
Complied with the law.
complied with the law. So we're just working on those.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
And Michelle, all right, long-range planning, Al? Any?
Yeah, our last meeting was in conjunction with the Facilities Committee, seeing as our long-range planning, at least at the moment, is tied in a lot with some of the preparations for renovations and expansions of our facilities, which have to do with our proposed agri-science and STEM programs, and also our planned renovation of this building. So our last meeting was to sit in on the facilities meeting where we learned about some of the background for the needs, specifically of the science program for the potential renovation project. In addition, we're planning for our long-range planning because it's been made clear that whatever bold strokes we take are bound to perhaps overstimulate the communities we represent, no matter which way or no matter how many plans we attempt to make, until after we have a good solid foothold on the top priority actions, which are our long-range plans for Chippewa, obviously, in terms of the agri-science project. So we're doing quiet, calm, and intrepid research, but we're not going to be doing active planning as far as studies that involve the administration or expenses or the communities until we have a real hold on decisions made for the upcoming, the more tangible upcoming plans for renovation and for agri-science. And that said, I think that regarding 6.6, we could consider doing our 2 hours April 20th for the policy, since I'm also on the policy committee and we are rather behind, that we could, on the 20th, work from 5 to 7 if everyone can make it. And once again,
I'll try to email Mike.
seed our long-range planning committee meeting to that, and then maybe have a wrap-up meeting for the year in May on the long-range planning committee meeting on the 18th. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone, any questions, Ralph? I appreciate your report, thank you. All right, then, is there any old business? Moving on to new business. Staff non-renewals pursuant to Connecticut statutes 10-151. Been handed us by the superintendent, Regional School District 12, non-renewals for 2015-16. Two names, Amy Kavila, Booth Free School elementary teacher, and Danielle Ciccone, science teacher at Chippewa Valley School. Is there a motion to accept the non-renewals as listed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Constantino, would you speak to the motion?
is this the-
Why don't you let her speak to it?
Oh, you want to speak to it first?
If you just.
Oh, well, currently, we have cut a science position from the budget, and that is, the last person hired is Danielle Ciccone. And Amy, at this point, is the position for the interventionist, because we've cut an intervention position, and that's a teacher. So currently, these two teachers are being non-renewed. Now, certainly, if there are openings, they can return. But you have to let people know, the law now is May 1st, that they're being non-renewed. So this is a formality with that law of,
Yes.
where's the law? Connecticut,
10-151.
yeah, 10-151 that we have to comply with.
Alan?
So it's not definite, it just depends on how things shake down as far
Yes.
as responses to certain
Exactly.
initiatives and things like that.
Right.
I know, that used to happen, other superintendents would just blanketly give everyone non-renewal.
No, I don't believe in that.
Right.
No, these are just the two people who are in danger. They could be back.
Yeah.
Peter?
Didn't we left an interventionist out of the budget, correct? Out of the
Yes, we
budget?
eliminated one position, but that person is a senior teacher in the district. So that person was not cut. The lowest teacher was cut.
But,
Non-renewed.
okay.
Do you understand?
So you took the money out of the budget for someone else, so to speak,
For the position.
Right, for the position, not the person.
not the person.
But the science is different because that is a science, this person is only certified in science. Whereas Amy and the interventionist are certified either K6 or K5, depending. So then you deal with the seniority list.
You can imagine through this process that the district loses probably, some excellent teachers.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, but it's the way she's got a district superintendent.
Now, honestly.
I'm not saying they all are, but there are.
Amy, we do have a teacher who is probably going to go out on maternity leave for a year next year. So that would bring Amy back into the fold.
All right, there's a motion. Is there anything else? All those in favor of the motion to accept the two non-renewals for 2015-16 as presented by the superintendent, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, 8.2, to consider and if appropriate approve contract with the Board of Education of the Town of Sherman commencing 2015 through 2018. That's Shannon.
Mr. Geeson and I, along with Mrs. Anderson was involved, and I believe Ms. Cora, I'm not sure, met with the Sherman contingent. We have a contract with them and for the next 3 years. You can see what the tuition rate is on page 2. For 2015-16, it's $11,976, and then it goes up. 16-17 is $12,276, and then 2017-18 is $12,582. It has been approved and signed on by the Sherman chairman, and so we are suggesting that you accept this and approve the contract and asking the chairman to sign them if you agree.
Sure, we'll sign it if it's approved.
So moved, or moved to, well, I guess it should be recognized for us. isn't it?
Yes, Alan, go ahead.
I'd like to approve the contract with the Board of Education of the Town of Sherman commencing 2015 to 2018.
Second.
All right, it's moved and seconded. Rick?
Yeah, question. Couple questions, actually. I noticed that there was a provision in there relating to bus transportation, the addendum to it.
Yes.
Which relates to what happens in the event we have a STEM ag
Right.
program. I'm going to get that right one of these days. What happens vis-a-vis tuition? Do these tuition numbers change in the event that some of these
Yes.
students go into that? And somehow I missed that. Maybe it's in there and I missed it.
Well, this goes to 18, the school year 18. So 15, 16, 17, 18, I'm sorry, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18. So our school would not open. If we get our school, it will be opening 18, 19. So,
Okay,
so
this
we
is going
will
to be
beg.
short of it.
It'll be short of it. And then also we had discussed that if there is, we do have the agri-science, that we would have to renegotiate the buses because they would be responsible to send their students here and pay for the transportation. So,
Well, their tuitions, though, would also be different at some point. So
Oh, yes,
When
absolutely.
we get there, that has to be
absolutely.
renegotiated.
And that was discussed.
Negotiated the next round of
Yes.
contracts.
Peter?
I presume we had a previous contract prior to this.
Yes.
One that's in effect right now.
Okay, right. How did you get to these numbers?
Your business manager worked on this.
Yes.
In the interest of the district.
And he,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Isn't that true? I mean, that's.
That is true, but he also, did a little research and got the contract with New Milford and with New Fairfield, and made sure that we were aligned with them.
Otherwise you'd lose it.
Yes.
Well, it's a steady increase.
Yeah, no, I have no problem.
Okay, all right, Michelle?
I was involved looking at the contract before the meeting, but I was not able to attend the
Okay.
meeting. And I'm just wondering if you can share, were there any concerns or issues raised by Sherman?
There really were not. The busing came up as far as, because it was an addendum. So they were concerned that there was no busing there, and Bob had said this is really a tuition for attendance in school, the bus should be separate. And he explained exactly what I said, that, it's good for now. If the Ag Science comes into being, that will change. They were very lovely. They had, the superintendent and 2 board members, one of which has students in Chicago. So it was fine. Nice little meeting.
Did they give you any indication of how many students are they send, or will it decrease or increase?
Well, their enrollment is also going down. I believe he said incoming freshmen right now, there are 6 definite, but there still may be more. We have approximately right now, I want to say about 20 students here.
Greg, sorry?
Yeah, I was going to ask, the last time there were 2 bus issues that tended to come up. Well, one of them was that there was a concern, and I think at one point we committed to providing a bus for a certain number of years because people are a little bit reluctant to put their child in as a freshman if
Right.
they're going to disappear the bus in 2 years in, or 3 years in. And so I know that was once a concern, so I'm presuming that we're going to continue to keep that rolling
Yes.
4-year period of time on the bus so that no one comes in as a freshman and then gets cut off.
Right.
And I think the second thing of the bus had to do with the time it left Sherman. And it turns out that I think that's under their control, not ours.
Yes, it
So,
is. It is, exactly.
just in case that ever came up, that was our understanding.
Okay. All right. Peter?
Is that bus, we pay for the bus coming and going, is that the idea? Pick them up and take them home?
Yes.
Yes. Anything else? There's a motion to approve the contract. All those in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, it passes unanimously.
Well done.
I'll sign it. All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
We'll adjourn for 5 minutes? Yes.
Personnel matter.
We'll go into executive session for personnel matters. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna run to the ladies' room. I'll be right back.
All right,
I'll be back with Alice.
that's executive session.
Are you good to go?
You know what?